Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
And I'm Chris Clements.
And it is the day after the debate.
The post-debate.
Last debate of the year.
It was.
And probably the last debate before
For the primaries.
Iowa caucuses.
Yeah,
right?
Iowa caucuses, for sure.
We had 4. It was down to 4. Well, 5, but Trump decided to skip again. So you had Christie
Well, when you're up by
Haley.
50, you know.
You had Christie, Haley, DeSantis, and Ramaswamy.
And Ramaswamy dominating at least the first 30 minutes.
I'm
Before they finally had to tell him to shut up.
It's not Vivek, it's Dick Ramaswamy.
Certainly that was the case early
Holy
on.
freaking crap, that guy is an asshole.
I mean, so much so that even my 10-year-old daughter, and we were, I like to listen to the
Right.
debates.
You
I
don't
don't
have to-
necessarily watch them because
Which is a
you
good way
pick
to
up
do
on the
it.
nuances.
Yeah.
And my 10-year-old says, "Dad, that Vivek guy, he's like one of Donald Trump's Oompa Loompas." And I go, yeah,
That's exactly right.
He's running for king of the Oompa Loompas in Willy Wonka world. And I go, you know what? That is actually pretty accurate.
That is dead on.
He is absolutely not running for president. He proved that again last night with his insults. And what's unfortunate about that is that several points that he made later on in the debate, I think, are fine and probably worth noting. But it takes everything away from whatever intelligent
question.
points he wants to make when
question.
he's insulting, basically calling Chris Christie fat, telling him to go get a meal, and then continuously insulting Nikki Haley in the way that he does.
Insanely misogynistic.
Yeah, completely misogynistic. And then you just don't listen to him anymore.
No. I mean,
Because several points later on in the debate, probably the second hour, once he calmed down and stopped trying to steal the spotlight for himself, actually were fine. They were decent, and
I don't know. I just think the circus that he creates is just, it is, what's insane to me was when he was talking about how the other 3 people on the stage have been bootlickers for Trump. Oh my gosh, he's the king of bootlickers.
I texted you, he is the king of Trump bootlickers right now. Because that's the only reason he's on that stage is, and he
It's to
said it
block
in
and
so many
tackle
words,
yeah.
is I am the America First candidate here. I'm the only America First candidate here. So therefore, I'm one of Trump's little minions up here doing whatever he wants me to do and saying whatever he wants me to say. So much so that one of his key campaign advisors have left the campaign to go work for Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah.
So his campaign is basically over.
Yeah. Well,
And he said on Megyn Kelly's post-debate show, or that she did, and I listened to parts of it this morning, specifically his interview, because I wanted to hear that. He really believes that he's going to do well in Iowa. And yet, to my knowledge, he really doesn't have much of an organization there.
Look, somebody tweeted last night that they don't know any real person. They've never met somebody that's a Ramaswamy supportor, and
Like in the truest sense.
Yeah, like literally, like, oh, I'm supporting. I haven't either.
He made the point.
Does he have any actual supporters?
Yeah, he made the point in the post-debate interview that they're having these events and tons of people are coming. It's like, well, I'm sure people want to hear you speak. That's fine, but no one's voting for you.
I'll be shocked if he. Let's see, how many candidates are we down to? So we've got 4. We've got 5. I mean, he'll beat Chris Christie in Iowa.
Yeah, perhaps.
That's as good as he'll get.
Yeah.
And if he's still in the race, Chris Christie will beat him in New Hampshire.
That is true.
He will come in dead last in New Hampshire.
Well, I mean, he's just not. I mean, likable. Likability. That's a huge factor in politics.
No.
You got to be likable. He's not likable.
He's not likable.
Not.
It's almost like
when you're that misogynistic.
And he actually.
Nikki
I
Haley.
feel like he has to. I mean, he's working at being unlikable.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. It's unfortunate because it takes away from what generally was a decent debate, I thought, overall. Although the first 30 minutes, if Megyn Kelly had purported that she wanted to keep things under control, nothing was under control those first 30 minutes. And then maybe there was a talking to after that, and it got better.
Yeah, I will say I think I think Megyn Kelly is probably the best moderator for debates that we've had this cycle. Of the four, she's been the best. I mean, nobody's really stood out.
No,
But
no.
she
that
definitely-
was one of the better debates once it finally calmed down and they were able to talk about issues.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different sound bites that are being recycled today,
yeah,
but overall, I thought it was the questioning was actually quite good.
Yeah, the good questions.
And they had good questions. They got to Donald Trump, which none of the other debates touched, and they got to some formative foreign policy discussions, and you got to see where everybody stood.
Yeah.
Especially in Ukraine and Israel and everything else.
And it's pretty amazing. It's what's amazing to me is the level of dishonesty that Ramaswamy in particular will hurl out there. And I think Chris Christie had it right. He's like, look, Vivek, you say these things, we see it on tape, and then you deny saying it. And it's over and over and over again. And he definitely dishes it out, but he clearly can't take it.
No, he can't take it.
He can't take it.
Yeah, I mean, a guy like Chris Christie's been picking on Vivek Ramaswamy since high school.
Probably.
I mean,
Probably.
Throwing spitballs at him across the classroom.
So, was there a winner?
I mean, again, I try not to watch because you read body language and everything else. I watched a little bit. I honestly thought that it was probably Nikki's to lose, and she didn't lose.
Okay.
I thought, Chris Christie just comes off as Chris Christie. Vivek did his thing. It really was between Nikki and Ron. And I thought Ron tried to make really good points, but I thought he came off as, just listening, whiny.
Okay. He probably came across a little better on TV.
Yeah.
The winner was Donald Trump.
Again.
Again. I get caught up in these things.
I'm sorry. I thought you said the winner for second place.
Oh, okay. Well,
I thought that's
watching.
what we were talking about. If the winner for second place, I think Nikki wins, probably does well in New Hampshire and does really well in South Carolina.
Well, the way I look
and
at
the
it,
money's coming in for her.
yeah, look, DeSantis is probably in the position to get it coming second in New Hampshire, or I'm sorry, in Iowa.
Yeah.
But if Nikki's within a couple of points, or maybe even edges him, which is possible, he's got to get out.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to win New Hampshire. Or coming second in New Hampshire. Nikki's got a good shot of being second in New Hampshire. And then South Carolina becomes a toss-up because, can she beat Trump in South Carolina? I mean, if she has a close second or a close finish in Iowa and a close finish in New Hampshire, maybe.
Yeah.
But still, the path for anyone other than Trump is insanely, insanely thin.
What did you think about what his closing argument was about even if Trump is the nominee, he won't be able to vote in his own election because he'll have been indicted on federal charges?
Well, he won't be able to vote unless he's actually convicted.
Yeah.
But yeah, look.
That was his strong. Everyone had. I thought, I was just thinking about this. Everybody sort of had like their moment, and I thought that was, other than Chris Christie swatting down Vivek earlier in the debate, I thought that was his other moment, his closing argument, and that was actually like, oh yeah, he's right. This could be a really interesting debate. I thought DeSantis' moment was on the transgender issue, when Chris Christie was sort of wallowing in this parental rights thing, and Ron slapped him down. Mm-hmm. I said, no, this is actually child mutilation,
Yeah.
and child abuse, and you're defending child abuse. And then he went after Nikki Haley on what she did or didn't do in South Carolina, and he was correct, and she was wrong. And so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. No, it was a lively debate, but I don't know that it matters that much.
No.
I will say that it's clear that, because look, Trump has to have a vice presidential pick. It's not going to be Ramaswamy. It's not going to be Chris Christie. It's not going to be Ron DeSantis. There's an outside chance that might be Nikki, but maybe not. I tend to think that he would not go that route. And, because I don't think he's going to pick somebody who was an opponent of his. He's just, his loyalty meter is not, it's not like Reagan saying, oh, George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, let's create a winning coalition of...
Yeah, Trump's not going to do that.
No.
Trump's not going to.
And he's not going to pick anybody who could the slightest bit overshadow.
But I think it's better for Nikki if she doesn't, because if he wins the presidency, he's a one-term president. It's going to be chaotic because he's going to be frantic about what is he going to get done in one term. He may not have the House. He may have, likely he'll have the Senate. And so it's better for her to be just prepared to run.
Well, I think
as the alternative.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're both running for what might be next. And I said in one of our podcasts, I think 2 podcasts ago, one thing that I'm listening to this last night and I'm thinking, okay, what is the positive in all this? And the positive in all this is that we're actually having this discussion, that we're actually having these debates. The other side is not.
Yeah. Well,
and yet the other side is in a complete panic over Joe Biden.
Right, as they should be. He is problematic. I still, we've said this multiple times that there's going to be a convention.
We're a broken record.
There's going to be a convention surprise, and it's not going to be a surprise. They're going to put Michelle Obama on the ticket. I think. I mean, that's what I would do if I were them. But so
you don't think Hillary will demand to be dropped in yet again?
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
She's out there.
That's one way. That's one way for Trump to win again.
Yeah, she's been out there a lot.
Yeah,
flapping her lips.
But I think, I think that I don't know. It's still the issue that's going to play a factor is this Israel-Hamas issue, because you have a cohort of the Democratic base which is just anti-Israel to the hilt, and they're going to go somewhere. They're either going to stay home or they're going to vote for somebody else, a Cornel West, a Jill Stein, somebody. And that's a problem for Joe Biden or whatever Democrat ends up as the presidential nominee.
Well, you saw it on full display.
The depth of insanity
depravity.
when you have these university presidents,
depravity,
who literally, if you put anyone up there, Elise Stefanik, member of Congress from New York, asks a very simple question: does the calls for genocide of Jews violate your policies on harassment and bullying?
Yeah.
And they could not answer the question. And yet, if she had said, does the calling of genocide of black people, of gays, of trans people, they would have been instant to absolutely.
Yeah.
But they totally equivocate.
If you violate somebody's preferred pronouns, does that get you drawn before a committee? Of course it does.
If you have a microaggression.
If you use the N-word openly in class, does that get you drawn before a
100%
disciplinary committee? Yes, absolutely. But from the river to the sea? No.
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 It depends on the context.
Yeah, it depends on the context. It depends if actually the act upon it is what.
So you actually have to commit the genocide before you.
Wasn't that what the Harvard president said, or one of them said? Maybe it was MIT.
No, it was MIT.
It was MIT. It depends on the context. They actually have to commit the act for us to take action. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. It'll be a shame, and it'll be a shame if the 3 of those people are not fired.
Well, but it begs the question. I heard this asked this morning on another podcast. What are they afraid of? Who are they afraid of?
Well, so that's a great point.
Who are they afraid of? This is a yes or no question. This is not hard.
So my wife Alyssa had a great observation this morning. She's like, they did that because they believed that they had all kinds of backup.
Oh, they believed they had the press. They believed they had everybody.
They believed that.
And for a moment they did. And now this morning they're waking up and they're finding they don't.
Well, not only that, I mean, even the White House had a fantastic statement. I mean, the spokesman at the White House said it is absolutely ridiculous that we have to have a statement saying that genocide is totally out of bounds.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it depends on the context.
I mean, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, just went off.
Yeah,
on
very
the
powerful
UPenn.
Democrat and went off on them. That was nice to see.
Yes.
And you know who has been solid on this?
Who?
Senator Fetterman.
Yes, he has.
Okay,
Yes, he has.
so Fetterman has pictures of everyone who is still held hostage in Gaza, who was taken out of Israel. He has pictures of them outside his office.
Oh, does he? I didn't
He
know.
has been ripping on. There was an incident that happened the other day in Philadelphia, where a bunch of protesters went outside
the
falafel owners,
Yeah.
who is Israeli,
Right.
and he slammed that. He said that's absolutely ridiculous. He has been amazingly consistent on this for a guy who's suffered massive strokes. He has direct moral clarity on this, and it's been good
which
to
is
see.
amazing. And yes, you are right. I mean, we have to give credit where credit is due. We
Yeah.
have been very critical of this guy.
Well,
but, oh
I
my
mean,
gosh,
rightfully
he has
so, but
been
he's been tremendous.
rock solid.
And he
on this.
has. I don't know any other senator who has the pictures of those who were taken outside their offices. Bring them home.
It's amazing.
Or members of Congress. Certainly nobody from the squad does.
No, and what's very interesting to me about this is that people that we have very strong philosophical disagreements with, John Fetterman, Hillary Clinton, those types of people have been very strong.
Well,
on this issue.
give credit to Chucky Schumer.
Yeah.
Chucky Schumer gave a 40-minute speech on the Senate floor the other day, went through his own history, his own family history, which was stark. And basically talked about how there's a whole thread of his family tree that was slaughtered by the Nazis in Ukraine, gunned down on the front porch of their family home.
Wow.
Grandmothers, great-grandmothers, babies, because they wouldn't comply with what the Nazis wanted them to do, which was get on the train.
Yeah.
And he talked about that on the Senate floor. And then he lamented about those other members of the left that he marched with and was in solidarity with, the BLM crowd and whomever, and that they're showing their true colors to the Jewish community now.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he's surprised. I mean, I don't know why he's surprised.
Well, I think that it's been a significant wake-up call for a lot.
Hopefully it is. It can go either way.
A lot of liberal Democrats, Jewish or not, that have that believe that we shouldn't, that actually believe the whole concept of equity, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the Harvard the woman at Harvard who is the president of Harvard put out a statement when with the oh my gosh, the Minneapolis police.
During the George Floyd?
George Floyd?
Yeah.
During that whole issue, she put out a statement and basically said, regardless of race or origin, we all have a basic human, basic human right to dignity. Perfect statement. Somehow doesn't apply to Jews.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to a worldview, and there's a liberal worldview that believes in human rights and civil rights, and then there's a Marxist worldview that believes that there are the oppressed and the oppressors. And I would argue that the left, the extreme left, who are coming out as virulently anti-Semitic, have this view of the Jews as being the oppressors.
Yeah.
And they're showing that with their statements and their actions.
No question.
They believe the Jews are these white oppressors who are, it's all the typical tropes, right? They're the wealthy. They're in control of the media. They're in control of Hollywood. They're in control of big business. And therefore, they are the oppressors. And therefore, they are getting what's coming to them.
Yeah.
Is what the argument is.
Which is...
And that is what they believe. They truly believe that, which is these anti-Semitic tropes. And that were part of what the Nazis said back in the 30s, and which led to the Holocaust.
I saw someone say something about when Jews go somewhere, they're settlers. Anyone else, they're immigrants.
Yeah. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
It's, this will be fascinating to watch it play out and how it affects the politics and the electoral politics on the left.
Well, if every Democrat is scared of what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan, then more power to you, I guess.
Yeah.
If that's what keeps you up at night, that Arab Palestinian Americans aren't going to vote for you because you're pro-Israel. Oh, well.
I mean, start another party or something.
I don't know. So, I don't know what you're going to do.
Yeah. It's a good question. So, last time we were together,
that was a while ago, like 2 weeks ago.
I thought we were together last time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because we talked about Henry Kissinger.
That's right.
Passing.
We did.
So since then, Sandra de OConnor has passed away. We lost a great one, a true blue Arizonan through and through, and someone who was a trailblazer.
Oh, absolutely.
Reagan's pick, the first woman to be on the Supreme Court. And
did you ever have any chance to spend time with her?
I did get to meet her. Just a remarkable woman.
Yeah.
Remarkable woman.
Yeah, I met her. Well, I met her when I was younger because her sister was actually a Pima County supervisor.
Right.
And super nice lady, and got to know her a little bit when we had our company. And then several years ago, I want to say about, maybe it was about 5 or 6 years ago. No, but probably longer. I do this program for YPO called Inside Washington. We got to go to the Supreme Court, and normally we will meet with just the clerk of the Supreme Court, and he gives us, the kind of the lowdown of how the court works. Well, one of our trips we got to meet with Sandra de OConnor, and she could not have been more gracious and funny and informative. And this is when she had retired, obviously, and she was very much in favor of starting this movement on civics.
Right.
And with the idea that, most high school graduates can't pass a basic civics exam, the same exam that we give to new immigrants. And that her quest was going to require that across the country. And guess who signed the first bill?
Yeah, Doug Ducey.
Doug Ducey.
Yeah.
And so that was great. And she and I had a small, just little aside conversation after her speech. She grew up in a ranching family. My family were ranchers back in the day. She knew my grandfather. She knew my dad, and we had this just nice little exchange about that. And
that's great. And
that was fun. That was really cool. And then I would run into her at different places, try to introduce myself. And sometimes she would know who I was, and sometimes not so much.
Well, she had a wonderful example to many, many people, especially women. Have the
and a true blue Arizonan. I mean, we've said it before. People like to think of Arizona as like a red state, or now it's a purple state, or whatever. It's a contrarian state. Like we have contrarians who kind of stand on their own principles, stand up for what they believe in, and don't give a rip what you think.
Right.
And you certainly saw that with John McCain. You certainly see that with Kirsten Sinema. And with
Barry Goldwater.
Barry Goldwater.
Carl Hayden.
Yeah, Carl Hayden, Barry Goldwater, certainly. They don't give a rip what you think. They're going to stand up for what they believe in, and you got to respect that. Sandra de OConnor was absolutely the same person.
Yeah, definitely.
In that Arizona trailblazing vein. And that, regardless of what you thought about her opinions on different issues or anything else, you were proud of the fact that she stood up for what she believed in.
Yeah. Another big loss, and this is for the young people. You will not. This won't be as big, but the guy who wrote and produced all the TV shows in the 70s, and now
Norman Lear.
Yeah.
All in the Family.
One of the cultural juggernauts.
Yeah.
Of the 1970s.
And many would, on our side of the aisle would argue, one of the biggest leftists, and who drastically changed the way America saw itself.
Well, maybe
in many ways.
I mean, he definitely. So he had. There was a quote by him that said, you know, we put the TV show out there, and then, you know, people would turn off the TV and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that certainly was true.
Yeah.
He was a trailblazer.
Well, I mean, All in the Family certainly did that.
Yeah, no question.
And the Jeffersons. And,
Yes.
which
And,
I love. The Jeffersons.
Sanford and Sons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but who was? I mean, we usually say, you know, the great ones go in threes. You know, we haven't really. I mean, would Norman Lear be that third?
You know, he had a tremendous influence on culture. Kissinger, O'Connor, and Norman Lear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's the three.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anyone else to die. I'm not a big fan of death.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I want to live a very long time. The longer people live, the more that I feel like I can live.
Well,
I mean, I got to live to be over 100.
And you doing the powerlifting that you're doing, you might be taking years off your life. Actually,
No, I'm adding because I'm adding muscle mass so that I'm, you know, that's all part of longevity. This is a longevity play.
I saw something in the Wall Street Journal yesterday that exercise could actually be shortening your life.
Oh,
and I'm like,
gosh.
I'm not reading this.
That's
I'm not
absurd.
listening to this because it's all a bunch of crap.
I'll tell you, it is amazing the amount of misinformation that's out there about health. Because, and part of it is...
Because health is a mystery for most
Yeah,
people.
it is. And it's, frankly, the human body is still a mystery to scientists and doctors.
That is true.
I mean, it's just we haven't figured it all out. So I just try to pick and choose the best things.
Well, and so much of health is an industry, and so much of science and health is bogus.
Yeah.
And so things become trendy, things become overblown. I mean, like the food pyramid. Let's just take that. What a bunch of
Wow.
what a bunch of BS. That has made a generation of kids fatter.
Yeah. It has created a massive amount of obesity. Yeah.
And it's and it was propagated by scientists and health experts that you should eat more bread, more grains, more sugar,
Right.
and that's going to be healthier for you versus eating what your body
Meat.
naturally craves,
Right.
which is animals.
Right. Exactly.
Animals.
Animals.
We crave animals.
Yep. We are omnivores.
Yeah, that is, that's how we live.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's just the truth.
All right. So let's keep on living. Go eat your meat. Have a steak.
Yes. Yeah, beef is what's for dinner.
It's what's for dinner.
Yeah, or chicken, or fish,
Or whatever.
whatever.
Whatever
But
floats
you
your
got to
boat.
have it.
But not tofu.
No, not tofu. Not tofu, and not like 12 grain.
Right. Yeah. Limit that stuff. That's for sure. All right. Well,
We
for
run
now,
out of time.
We will see you later on.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. God bless.
Take care.